The Galactic Naval Academy had stood for 3 millennia as the pinnacle of military education across 47 civilized worlds. Its crystalline spires pierced the clouds of Centauri Prime, casting rainbow shadows over manicured gardens where the galaxy's finest minds learned the art of interstellar warfare. Never in its storied history had the Academy faced a challenge quite like Cadet Marcus Chen. When the transport ship Stellar Grace deposited the human at the Academy's gleaming docking bay, whispers rippled through the assembled alien cadets, like radiation through a nebula. The creature before them stood barely 2 meters tall, diminutive by Caraxian standards, fragile compared to the chitinous Vexhi, unremarkable next to the ethereal Lumini. Yet something in its bipedal gait, and the way its small eyes tracked movement sent involuntary shudders through species that had evolved on gentle worlds, under benevolent suns. Marcus was humanity's first representative to the Academy, part of a grudging cultural exchange after the Terran Federation's recent admission to the Galactic Council. The Council had debated extensively whether beings from a Class 12 death world, a planet where predators ruled and survival meant constant vigilance, could ever integrate with civilized society. The Academy would serve as their proving ground. Admiral Zeph High, the Academy's Caraxian commandant, had reviewed the humans' file with growing concern. Terra's gravity was nearly double galactic standard. Its atmosphere contained a corrosive oxygen mixture that would burn the lungs of most species. The planet harbored millions of predatory species, frequent natural disasters, and worst of all, its dominant sapients had evolved not from peaceful herbivores or gentle filter feeders, but from persistence hunters who had once stalked megafauna across burning savannas. "We shall mold this barbarian into something resembling an officer," Zeph High had declared to his staff, "or we shall break him trying." The Academy's training regimen had been refined across centuries to challenge the galaxy's brightest minds while maintaining the physical safety mandated by the Galactic Convention on Sapient Rights. Environmental suits protected cadets from the mild 0.7 g gravity during combat exercises. Nutritional supplements ensured optimal health. Stress levels were carefully monitored to prevent psychological damage. Marcus Chen had no such protections. On his first day, the human appeared at morning formation without an environmental suit. His uniform crisp despite the Academy's harsh 0.9 g gravity field, still lighter than his homeworld. When other cadets struggled with the 5-kilometer morning run, Marcus maintained an easy pace that suggested he could continue indefinitely. While his classmates gasped in the slightly oxygen-thin atmosphere, the human breathed normally. His cardiovascular system adapted to extract energy from an atmosphere that would ignite most organic compounds. The first true test came during survival training in the Academy's Extreme Environment Simulation, a controlled ecosystem designed to test cadets' limits. The holographic forest featured mild weather variations, harmless indigenous analogs, and carefully calculated challenges. Most species required 3 days to navigate the 50-kilometer course. Marcus emerged after 18 hours, having apparently treated the exercise as a light hike. When questioned by bewildered instructors, he politely asked if there was a more advanced version available. "The Death Worlder is mocking our training," snarled Lieutenant Commander Zerath, the Academy's Vexhi tactical instructor. His mandibles clicked in irritation as he watched Marcus effortlessly complete obstacle courses designed to challenge beings twice his size. "We must increase the difficulty." The Academy's faculty convened an emergency session. If one cadet could trivialize their training protocols, what did that say about their methods? They began modifying exercises specifically for the human, gradually escalating challenges that would have hospitalized any other species. Marcus adapted to each escalation with cheerful determination. When they increased gravity to 1.2 g, he thanked them for making the environment feel more like home. When they introduced controlled electrical hazards, he demonstrated techniques for grounding electrical current that his species had developed during lightning storms. When they added psychological stress simulators, Marcus meditated using breathing, techniques developed by humans who had survived in active war zones. The breaking point came during the Academy's premier trial, the Crucible of Command. This week-long exercise placed senior cadets in charge of simulated starship crews facing cascading emergencies. The simulation was designed to be unwinnable, testing how gracefully future officers would accept defeat. In 3 millennia, no cadet had ever actually succeeded. Marcus Chen didn't just succeed, he redefined success. When his simulated ship lost main power, he implemented power-sharing protocols inspired by human naval traditions dating back to wooden sailing vessels. When hull breaches threatened the crew, he organized repair teams using damage control techniques developed during Terra's most savage wars. When enemy forces surrounded his vessel, he executed a fighting retreat that would have made human commanders weep with pride. But what truly shattered the Academy's carefully structured worldview was Marcus's response to the simulation's ultimate test, the choice between saving his ship or saving civilians. The exercise was designed to force cadets to choose, teaching them that command meant accepting terrible losses. Marcus refused to choose. In 36 hours of continuous operation, subsisting on stimulants and raw determination, he engineered a solution that saved everyone. His final maneuver, using his ship's warp core breach as a weapon while simultaneously evacuating all personnel via a chain of emergency transports, left the simulation's artificial intelligence in recursive loops trying to process an outcome its programmers had deemed impossible. Admiral HFY found himself in his office at 300 hours, staring at reports he couldn't quite believe. Training protocols that had remained unchanged for centuries suddenly seemed inadequate. Equipment that had challenged the galaxy's elite now appeared primitive. Methods that had produced thousands of competent officers looked almost quaint beside the raw adaptability of one determined human. "Sir," his aide ventured carefully, "perhaps we should consider updating our curriculum?" The Admiral's laugh held no humor. "Update it? Lieutenant, we need to rebuild it from the foundation up." He gestured at the reports scattered across his desk. "This one cadet has demonstrated that we've been training officers for a peaceful galaxy that no longer exists. We've created procedures for beings who evolved in safety, assuming threats would be manageable and solutions would be civilized." Through his office window, HFY could see Marcus Chen in the Academy's gymnasium, working out alone in the early morning hours. The human was exercising at gravity levels that would crush most species, pushing weights that violated several safety protocols, maintaining a pace that suggested he found the activity relaxing rather than challenging. "The Death Worlder didn't break our Academy through rebellion or violence," the Admiral continued. "He broke it by succeeding so completely that he exposed how fundamentally unprepared we are for the universe as it actually exists." He activated his console, beginning to draft new training protocols. "If we're going to produce officers capable of protecting the galaxy, we need to learn from the species that survived in hell." When the Academy's new curriculum was announced 6 months later, it bore little resemblance to the gentle, safety-focused training of the past. The Caraxian and Vexhigh cadets grumbled about increased difficulty. The Lumini filed formal complaints about barbaric expectations. But graduation rates improved dramatically, and for the first time in the Academy's history, officers emerged who were truly prepared for the dangers lurking in dark space. Marcus Chen graduated valedictorian naturally, but his true achievement wasn't personal success. It was forcing an entire institution to evolve, proving that sometimes the greatest victories come not from destroying your enemies, but from making them stronger. In the end, the Academy learned what humans had always known. The universe was a dangerous place, and survival belonged to those who adapted fastest and fought hardest. The galaxy's most prestigious military institution had tried to break a Death Worlder cadet. Instead, the cadet had remade them in humanity's image and made them better for it.